Let's try that again then. It's because the cooldown's reduced, isn't it? Right. So, Vera. Vera is not predominantly seen in the meta already. She's not exactly a big go-to pick for a lot of people. But her damage on her Hellbat is taking a nerf. So it's not... I thought I was mistaken. I thought this was actually a buff to the initial damage and a lower AP ratio. In fact, it's a lower AP ratio and lower damage. So just overall less damage. However, she is going to be able to use that Hellbat far more regularly because the cooldown is going to be reduced only by a half second in the late game. Pretty much half second across the board at all stages. That is helpful. I don't know who thought she needed a nerf on a Hellbat. I guess she doesn't get played now. She's not going to be played even more now. Liliana. Now we all saw this coming. Liliana still one of the go-to bans. Probably top 3 bans in the game, I would say. Up there with Flash and Superman. Aram has been a big one as well recently. Since her introduction. But still, Liliana, Leap of the Fox. Stun time reduced from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. So, it's a stun with one of the longest ranges in the game. It's annoying as hell. It has a lot of utility, and it allows us to set up a lot of combos. That is a significant change in regards to overall stun time. However, it's still a stun. It's still good. It was never a 3-second stun. It was only a 1-second stun. So all it was used for really is to allow her to land damage or to allow her to dash in quickly to do the damage if needed. It's still going to allow that, but it has been nerfed slightly. Unpredictable. So, human form. Magic damage reduced, so nerf. Enemy movement speed reduction, nerf. Again, we knew this was coming. This is a pretty reasonable nerf, pretty sizable nerf, both in movement speed and in damage. You know, it's substantially enough that it will have an effect. I don't think it's going to make her weak by any long shot at all. She's still going to be a very strong pickup in the mid lane. Still very mechanically demanding, and a lot of people have put a lot of time into making her one of their go-to mages. They're not going to stop playing her, and I'm pretty sure she'll still work, and she'll still, if she gets fed, she's still going to be an absolute beast. Fox form. Magic damage reduced from 300, 450, 600 to 250, 375, 500. So again, a pretty reasonable chunk of damage reduction there. And 0.7 AP to 0.55 ratio on the AP. So again, not only is the initial damage being reduced, the AP scaling is being reduced as well. Pretty significant. Every enemy movement speed reduction reduced from 50 to 30. Again, it's just keeping it in line with, so unpredictable is the case across both her Fox and human form is consistent. It's basically essentially the same change. It is the same change. But they have to point it out that in both forms, it remains the same in that regards. Illumia. Didn't think you'd see Illumia nerfs at any point, but yeah, you're going to see Illumia nerfs. We'll go to the cooldown increase first of all, but then we'll talk about the bonus for it. So, cooldown increased from 60-50-40 to 70-60-50. Now, 10 seconds late game with cooldown reduction, not huge difference, but it's enough to make a difference. Sometimes not having it up for a certain team fight, or if team fights happening extremely regularly, it will be troublesome. However, immediately reveals the position of all enemy heroes. Now, this is key. This is going to allow for more tactical use of Illumia. The places you saw Illumia played the most were in when you had a full team together, that would work together really well, that would line up things like Mina ults combined with Cataclysms, CC chains, etc. So when you've got those cohesive teams that coordinate really well and communicate really well, that's where Illumia comes into play at her best. So having a Cataclysm reveal enemy position is going to work very well for that coordinated team play. I don't think the cooldown increase is going to be too problematic for any Illumias. If Illumia was going to get picked before, I don't think this is going to make them not get picked. She's not overly picked anyway. And if she is picked, like I say, it's a more tactical, team-based scenario. I don't think this is enough to make them say otherwise. So, yeah, good change, I suppose, overall. Carly. Now, this one's gone back and forth. Carly has gone from being awful to overpowered to mediocre to, yeah, everything and everything across the board, depending on which season you call him. Magic damage dealt by piercing enemies increased on powerful hymns. Yep, just a flat up increase from 40 to 50. Okay, soul summoning. Cooldown rescaled from 10 to 8. So basically, previously it started quite high. Got reasonably low. Now it's in the middle, all the way across the board. Pretty consistent. It's actually a buff. Pretty much a buff, because where Carly, once upon a time where Carly was really weak was early game. She really struggled early game. She was extremely late game. They brought her into the meta, made her more relevant. She still struggled a little bit early game. Now, less so. So yeah, Carly has become a really strong pick in certain compositions. It's going to become even stronger. That's a pretty solid buff to her overall, in my opinion. Flash. Here comes the nurse. I presume. I haven't read it. Damage dealt to enemies hit by the second dash after also being hit by the first increased. So it's going to be mainly towards the end, isn't it? Yeah. So increased AP ratio and increased damage scaling towards the end. All this is doing is encouraging Flash players to be more skilled and to utilise the idea of dashing back through enemy heroes more effectively, rather than just utilising it purely for mobility. It's going to mean that people have to make better decisions on how they use this skill, how they use this super speed. I think that's actually, while it's a damage buff, and we're seeing Flash ban a lot, I actually quite like it, because it means that if you're a good Flash player, you benefit more than anyone picking up Flash because they feel is overpowered. Importantly, especially for myself as a support, the first dash can now be interrupted. So, that's huge. Not CC immune, there's no iframe, you literally just can, you can Dark Dominion him as Mina, you can stun him as anyone, pretty much, in this game. So that's actually really important. That's a huge thing. So while it's going to encourage him to utilise his super speed more tactically for damage, it's also going to encourage him to use it tactically as far as positioning. So again, encouraging Flash players to be better Flash players to use him more effectively. I'm all for sort of decisions like that. It gives some level of counterplay, adding the fact that his dash can be interrupted, but it encourages a good Flash player to be even more aware of their surroundings. Mac Punch. Magic damage for each stage rescaled. So a slight reduction in AP and a very slight reduction as far as damage is concerned in the late game. Early game, a little bit stronger. So 135 versus the 120 at the beginning. So his early game has been a little bit buffed. Late game, a little bit weaker, especially with that AP reduction. But it's not that big, to be fair. It's a very minute change. Cyclone. So his ultimate, magic damage when moving rescaled. It's actually, again, an increase as far as damage, but a kind of a adjustment on the AP ratios. That will probably level out, I'm going to guess, or be a subtle nerf. Nothing too dramatic, though. Magic damage after pulling in enemies rescaled. Again, an increase in damage there. So, Flash, pretty much one of the top bans in Diamond and Master, in the EU region at least. Getting a buff, pretty much. Nothing about this reads as significant nerf or something that's going to, make him less ban worthy. So yeah, pretty much Flash still a go-to mid laner if you play that role. Tulin, base movement speed reduced, so he was a little bit too fast. He's a high mobile hero already. 10 difference in movement speed, noticeable maybe in early game, but nothing too dramatic. Late game, when you've got a few items that maybe will encourage more movement speed, or he's got his mobility on a lower cooldown and he can utilise that more effectively anyway. Ion Blast, magic damage reduced. Slight increase in AP ratio though, to mitigate that. Again, it will probably be a subtle nerf, but it's not going to be huge. That's not going to make a massive difference. Praetor, again, another hero that's gone back and forth over time. Has had numerous changes and alterations over the last few patches. His Plague Spectre, mana cost has been reduced, so that's great. He can be very mana hungry at times if you are trying to constantly clear waves, if you're being sieged, or if you're being focused in the mid lane, if you're being babysat, shall we say, or the enemy's being babysat by their jungler and really, really pressuring you, or the roam is coming towards your lane quite frequently. Trying to clear waves consistently early game can be a real problem for Praetor, so this is going to help him out a little bit. However, his Power Gas Bomb, Power Gas Bomb? Poison Gas Bomb. Apologies. Poison Gas Bomb. It's like Poison Gas Bomb and you got Laughing Gas Canister, so Poison Gas Bomb. Slowdown effect reduced from 50% to 30%. Again, I think they're trying to tone down the slows. We saw that reduction earlier in Liliana's kit as well, from 50 to 30. Seems like they're trying to make 30% movement speed the kind of standard of the movement speed reduction. And if someone has anything more than that, it's a significant skill use, either a large cooldown or an ultimate ability that's going to allow for that. So things like your Hissy Fit and your Earth Splitter, I want to call it. I forget that wrong, I apologise. I play Lumber and I should know that. Cast range reduced on the Poison Gas Bomb as well, so he needs to be a little bit closer. It's not a huge difference, but again, Praetors don't want to be closer to people, so that is a nerf on his Poison Gas Bomb, but obviously a slight reduction on the mana cost for his Plague Spectre. Raz! Power Surge, going to throw out them fireballs, but they're going to be reduced. So again, this is very similar to what we've seen already with some of the mages. A very slight change in the damage, then mitigated by an AP ratio change. For him though, it's actually across the board. So he's got the damage reduction, still the same, very much the same early game, but late game, a little bit of a damage reduction, and also an AP ratio change. Again, not a huge AP ratio difference. Should be enough to maybe have an effect. But there's not that much res. He's sort of crept into the meta a little bit with some of the bigger teams picking him up in the Valor series. However, he's high skill, he's extremely squishy. I like that style of hero. I think that's a balanced hero when they are doing high damage, high mobile, but they are squishy if they do get caught. I think that's a fair hero. We'll see how that plays out. Now, Jinnar. Jinnar's been getting a lot of love recently. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a buff. Battering Beads. Magic damage increased, yeah. 0.42 to 0.5, and is it early damage scaling? Nope. Literally just a very subtle, that's it. There's no damage change, just a little bit of an AP ratio change in his favour, and a mana cost reduction as well, more so in the early game. A little bit in the late game as well. So, Battering Beads across the board, buff. Suture Pain, movement speed, reduction, rescaled. Okay, so rather than it being 35 early game and 60 late game, it's now flat 50 across the board. That's, again, another early game buff to Jinnar. They're really trying to bring Jinnar into the meta. He's huge over in the SEA region. Really good in big AoE team comps, seen combined with things like Arthur for just ridiculous AoE damage, combined with something like Amina as well that can group people up. It can be a real problem. Nirvana. Mana cost reduced. This got buffed previously. It's now got its mana cost reduced as well. They are really trying to push Jinnar into the meta. I would not be surprised if this is actually the changes that make people start playing him, at least trying him out in certain compositions. I think we could see more Jinnar players, if I'm honest. Alistar, Wicked Plot. Every third normal attack curses the target, only Alistar's abilities. So it's ability based rather than normal attacks. To be fair, I don't think most people that play Alistar knew that his normal attacks triggered it anyway. They just did their combo and kill people. That's how Alistar works, right? They just do the combo and that's it. Mark duration reduced from 7 seconds. Again, it's a reduction, it's a nerf, but at the same time, Alistar players will go bloop, 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 dead. I don't think it really matters. Interval before the mark triggers is reduced from 5 seconds to 0 seconds. Okay, so it just triggers like hell straight away. Okay, Magic Barrier. This is stun. Cooldown has been reduced in the early game, at least. Matrix of Woe. Every stage of damage in the Matrix will add 1 stack of Curse. Oh, so if you stand in his stuff, like I'm a WoW player, so we learned early days you do not stand in the fire/green stuff on the floor. Don't stand in the green stuff on the floor in AoV either. This is a good reason why not now, because that curse tick will hit way more often. Magic damage for each stage rescaled. Slight AP ratio nerf, slight damage increase. Cooldown reduced as well. Again, Alistar getting a little bit of a buff here, I think, actually, overall. Mesh row. Each stage of damage will add 1 stack of curse. Again, if you get this is going to encourage people to get really good combinations off quickly. And to utilize the full duration of your magic prison to get extra damage. However, the damage of each tick is slightly reduced. There's been an AP ratio nerf. However, obviously with the curse stacks occurring at each stage, that will probably end up actually still being a damage increase overall, I imagine. Cooldown has also been increased slightly, but again, it was never on that long of a cooldown anyway, and with cooldown reduction, it's still not going to be too long of a cooldown late game. Natalia. Each fireball that hits an enemy hero will restore 10 mana and reduce cooldown by 0.6 seconds. 1 second. So yeah, each fireball that hits an enemy hero will restore 10 mana and reduce cooldown by 0.6 seconds. So if you hit your Arcane Spirits, you're going to get a lot more mana, and cooldown's going to get reduced. Big buff, because one of the biggest things holding Natalia back is how demanding her entire combo is on mana. So now if you can land your Arcane Spirits effectively, you are going to get a lot more mana back, and that's going to help you out in the long run. Lethal Rays. Shield damage reduction increased. Nice. Okay. So you're going to get an increase in damage reduction. Again, just a flat buff to Natalia. I think what Tencent and Arena of Valor are trying to make us realize is there are more mages in the game than Tulin, L'Oreal, Liliana, and Flash. Because that's basically all that's played. Unless you are someone that's actually got out there, played other heroes, and practiced them to the point where they can play against the hard, overpowered, non-balanced current meta heroes. So Natalia, she's getting a little bit of a buff. Cool stuff. Crixie, she's getting a buff. She's getting a big damage increase on her Mischief. Slight AP ratio, I think, but that's still not going to mitigate that. That's definitely a damage buff. Mana cost rescaled. So late game, not as mana demanding. Early game, a little bit more mana demanding. Nothing too dramatic. Cooldown reduced as well. So again, Crixie, another obscure mage, doesn't really get played. Getting a little bit of a buff here. I like it. We won't mention the fact that there's a new summer skin out for her and she's getting conveniently buffed. But we won't talk about that. I'm just joking. To be fair, she's got some really cool skins anyway, and she definitely needs the buff if she wants to be put into the meta. I'm really happy to see, and Azankara is going to be another one we'll look at in a second. I'm really happy to see these mage changes. I don't know about you guys, but I like playing. If you guys have seen me on stream, you've seen me play the Scud support, the Ardwin support, the the weird and the wonderful. The slightly off meta, less obvious choices for support. That's kind of what I like to rock, and I like to make them work. And I don't think that players that play carry roles have those same options. They don't have the options to play obscure heroes that don't get picked in the meta and still make them work, because they don't in the meta because they just can't work. They can't beat the unbalanced or the more powerful heroes in the meta. So they're kind of stuck playing 3 or 4 heroes constantly. And I don't think that that's fun for most people. Some people might not mind it, but I think in the long run, that's not a fun way to run a game. And I'm glad Tencent realised that, and I'm glad Arena of Valor is trying to not be that game. So Sand Trap, magic duration, magic damage reduced, but mark duration reduced. Cooldown in the ability for the ability to use the same target reduced from 5 to 2 seconds. Okay, damage nerf, cooldown reduction buff. I think that's going to be an overall buff, because you'll be able to get skills off a lot quicker, and it's going to make you a bit of a CC machine, I think. Kind of worded a bit weird. I think that's what I'm taking away from it. Sad punch. Sad punch. You punch sad people. Sand punch. Magic damage reduced. Okay. Aerial time reduced. Okay. Cooldown scaled from 8 seconds to... Okay. Attack delay. Right. It goes off a lot quicker, so people can't dodge it. But it's going to do less damage. Again, it's making more of a CC machine. Yeah, that's fair enough. He's going to be basically the go-to, lock everyone down. It's kind of going to be like a slightly more damage-heavy Alice. And we all know how well she's going right now in the meta, so that wouldn't surprise me if he might be picked up. I mean, to be fair, I'm looking at these thinking maybe build a couple of tanky items on him, maybe put a Beris and Frosties there and see how it goes. Maybe support could be a thing if everything's on a low cooldown. Xenion, Angelic Splendor. Duration of damage reduction effect reduced. So he's not going to be as tanky for as long. Cooldown increased, so it's going to be... You're going to have to decide when you use it a lot more effectively. Cooldown increased, yep. Omen. Rescale movement speed increase. So now he does... He's faster early, not as fast late. Again, they've taken out this scaling and putting just that one solid middle ground number in a lot of these things. Same with the slowdown effect here. It's been reduced from 50% to 30%. Again, making 30% the go-to standard. Death's Embrace. Distance advanced reduced from 5.5 to 5 meters. So we won't be able to land that ult on you from quite so far, but it's not a huge difference. Might be enough to be noticeable by those that play Omen on a regular basis though. Wonder Woman. Braces of Submission. Damage reduction reduced from 80 to 50. That's a big difference. Stun time reduced from 1 second to 0.75. That's not as much of a difference. However, that damage reduction was huge for Wonder Woman. A lot of Wonder Woman players would go in, utilize their abilities, take a decent amount of damage, activate their ultimate, lock people down, take and tank so much more going on from that point, and allow their team to clear up. This is a big damage reduction decrease. It's not going to be enough to knock her out of the meta. However, it's going to mean that plays by Wonder Woman need to be made a little bit more... You need to be a little bit more knowledgeable in what you're doing, and you need to realize you're not going to be quite as tanky in the early game. You're going to need those items. Zephyr's, Death from Above, range decrease. It's not a huge range decrease, but again, just stopping him jumping on you on the back when you're 10 meters behind your tower and he's in the jungle and he still gets you. Arthur, Deep Impact. This ability cannot be interrupted. I'm going to play Arthur, roam, support, aggressive support, even more now. I already play that in my streams if you've seen it. It's fun. But Deep Impact can now not be interrupted. Didn't think it really could be anyway. I think it's been interrupted by someone like once in my entire time of playing Arthur, and I thought it was a glitch. However, it's nice to know it can't be now. Butterfly, she's been overhauled visually. She's got a new skin and stuff. I'm not going to show you that now unless it's down further on the page. Personally, I like the armor better rather than the spandex, but you know, I don't control the game. And she's got new visual effects as well. And the visual effects look cool. Kill and Assist resets the cooldowns of all Butterfly's abilities, but it no longer restores HP. Okay, so it's just taking out that sustain element, which, to be fair, is going to make her a lot squishier. Because the amount of HP she got back when she got kill after kill was huge. And you also see a lot of Butterflies get very low health, stay out of the fight until they see someone get low, get the kill, then jump back into the fight when they got the HP back. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. Physical damage reduction on her Whirlwind. Removed the slowdown effect. That's huge because, again, one of the big things with Butterfly was her ability to chain her CC and kills in order to get those epic moments that you've seen all Butterflies get. New though, casting will remove slowdown, grants immunity to slowdown or increase. Okay, so instead of slow the enemy, you now free yourself from slows. That could be, in fact, a little bit more powerful for Butterfly because there are far more skills that will slow you down. And a lot of heroes have mobility anyway, so you slow them down with Whirlwind didn't always land you a kill because they could dash away. However, now, if someone slows you, you can still chase after them. That's pretty scary, actually. That's pretty scary. If you've got a Butterfly chasing after you, you're now going to need to bait out that Whirlwind before you actually know you're safe. Sword Propel. Physical damage reduced. Straight up. Nothing too dramatic there. Backstab. Damage reduction lowered from 6% for the last 2 seconds. 50% that decreases to 0 over 3 seconds. Okay, so lasts slightly longer, but is slightly lower. No longer grants increased movement speed. Instead, it now decreases the movement speed of the marked target. Okay, so they flipped it around. Backstab now increases. Now instead of increasing your movement speed, decreases movement speed of the marked target by 30% for 3 seconds. So this is where your slow is now put, and you've now got an immunity on your whirlwind. This is a big buff, I think. Damage nerf, but the way the playstyle is going to go so much smoother, I think. The way I'm reading this, it sounds like this would be far, far smoother for butterfly players and make a lot more sense. When the mark disappears on or the target dies, 20% of the damage dealt will be converted to HP. Oh my god, so they took off our HP. Right, okay. So there's me saying that they're going to have to be play safer because they're not going to get HP back anymore. But they're just going to get back on this instead. 20% of the damage dealt. You know how much damage a butterfly can deal? 20% of that. That's probably a buff. I think it's probably a butterfly buff overall. That's my opinion. I might be wrong on paper, but it sounds kind of like a buff to me. Irie, spin, damage rescaled so that it does more damage. Cool. Yeah, it does more damage. Arduin, come at me. Arduin, Bloodlust, restored, increased from 2% to 4%. Good, because you only got like 2 hits off before you got burst down anyway. So now you get 8% health that gets taken away before you instead of 4. Fix the bug in which it is triggered when in battle. I noticed that bug and I'm glad they fixed it. That really fucking annoyed me because your passive is such a big part of your engage. Aram, here it comes, guys. We knew it was gonna happen. Hope you all had a chance to ride her into Diamond or Platinum or wherever as a support main if you were a support main like myself. Or you got stopped playing support and didn't know how to play. Ravenous Beast. Magic damage reduced. Shock and horror. Still does 3% of the target's max HP though. HP restored. Yeah, it's just really subtle changes. 20 off of each. Still going to be strong. Lion Tamer, magic damage reduced. Again, scaling, just taking away our early game a little bit. That's it. That's not enough. That is not enough of a nerf to make Aram not good. Aram is still going to be sound. That's fine. Gilda. Ooh, Gilda changes. Alright. Magic damage, increase. Okay. That's a big increase. Oh, wow. AP ratio aside, that is a massive difference. Cooldown has also been reduced. Mana cost reduced. Okay. Giving them Gilda buffs. Bring back Gilda support. Alright. Season 3 all over again. Grak. Earthquake. Silence enemies around Grak. What? It's a silence now? Cool. That's pretty cool. And his chain has been reduced on cooldown in the early game. That's a nice little buff for him. That's a nice little buff for Grak. I don't know if it's going to be enough to push him into the meta at a high level, but those that play him on the lower elo, they're going to have a lot of fun with that. Zuka, increased attack duration, attack damage increase, cooldown reduced, so his chi got like buffed. Pain on a stick, increase. Skyfall, increase. Okay, buffs all round for Zuka. I reckon we're going to see some Zuka solo and Zuka jungle plays happening a lot. Astrid, she's been pretty much changed every patch so far. Bladed Guardian, shield HP rescaled. Whoa. Okay. Give me that shield. That's a pretty tasty shield. Yeah, okay. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to play more Astrid. Max movement speed reduced. Maximum movement speed decreased. Okay. It was too speedy. Let's buy it blender. Everything else fine. Roma, blade spread distance decreased. Yeah, it wasn't accurate. It was you were getting hit way outside of the visual range, so that probably puts it in line with actually the visual range now. Flight, Superman, Shock and Horror. We're still seeing nerfs going through. Physical damage dealt in relation to max HP reduced from 12 to 10. Kryptonian strength 12 to 10. Physical damage reduced from 12 to 10. I don't think that's enough. Admittedly, 2% is still quite a big nerf. I don't think that's enough. Scott, give me a buff, give me a buff, give me a buff. Oh, you bastards. Additional physical damage reduced from... So they went back on the previous buff. That's a big difference. Ah. Why are you nerfing my Scud? You a-holes, why you do this to me? Alright, Lubu. You're gonna friggin' buff Flash, but you're gonna reduce Scud. Come on. Come on, guys. What are you doing to me here? Alright, Lubu. Movement distance for each cast reduced from 3.5 to 3. Aerial control reduced from 0.7 aerial time to 0.2. So the stun's gonna happen quicker. Oh no, there's no stun now. So it's a bit of a nerf from Red Stallion across the board there. Conqueror, increased attack damage. Yeah, so his Conqueror has more damage though. Rook, fixed the budge where Rook's passive armor decrease effect would not be added to his normal attack. So he's going to get a buff. Charge shot, however, will have reduced damage. Okay, that's fine. Malok. Cleave. What? His cleave's been increased? They're buffing Malok? Okay. Reduce shield damage protection. Okay, so his shield's getting... Yeah, his shield got nerfed. Okay, so he's a little bit less tanky. He's somehow dealing more damage now. And HP is reduced as well. Okay, it's fine. I think that's an overall nerf to his tankiness. He was still probably too tanky for the amount of damage he dealt, but now he deals more damage, so... Alright. Base attack damage increase for Valheim, because no one picks him past Plat. Red Glaive damage rescaled. Oh god, there's a change for each of them. A lot of rescaling. Yellow Glaive damage rescaled as well. Didn't even know what the ratio on his glaives were. Apparently they've been adjusted. Body Hunt. Magic damage increased. AP. Okay, so it's AP Valheim now, is it? Yep, AP Valheim. Okay, cool. Slims. Base range. No, increased even. Why did Slims, of all people, need a range increase? Alright. Okay, so he can still take damage now during Canned Laughter, but he can't be CC'd for Joker. Talanas. Attack speed gain per level reduced. Yeah. Base attack damage increase. Okay. Less speed, more damage. Less damage. Speed increase. Magic damage increase. One eagle eye. Okay. Penetrating shot. Again, they're doing this. They're taking out the scaling from being low, early, high, end game. They're just keeping it 40 across the board. Again, a lot of buffs to people's early game in this sense. Means that certain skills are definitely stronger in the early game than they were previously. Arrow Chaos. Physical damage reduced. Stun time rescaled. So that late game it's longer. A little bit shorter again. Fix the bug in which arrow chaos could trigger damage twice sometimes. I've never seen that, but okay, that was apparently a thing. There's a lot of balance changes here, guys. Explosive arrow. 1 second immobilization time to 0.7 second stun. So it's actually a stun now, not immobilization. That's actually stronger, I think. Fennec. Increasing range. Cannot be targeted when rolling. Slight subtle buff to Fennec, but to be fair, I thought these things already existed. I didn't think he could be targeted when rolling. Apparently he could. It's good to know that he can't now. Piercing gaze, physical damage reduced. Physical bonus is reduced there as well. Teamy, he was way too tanky for the amount of damage he did, so they made him squishier. Chagna, Chaos Protection. Alright, what are you doing to El Fonte? Duration of control immunity and damage reduction for teammates increased from 0.5 seconds to 1 second. I mean, it's double the time. I still think it's too little, but okay. Hissy fit reduction? Yeah, knew this was coming, guys. So Hissy fit, movement speed reduction is being knocked right down. Good solid 10% across the board. Okay, items. So, Leviathan. Right now, if you are a jungler, 90% of the time you build Leviathan. If you're a top lane, or solo lane, should I say? Sorry, solo lane. You probably build Leviathan as well. And you're not jungling. And you still build Leviathan because it's such a strong item. They probably want to change that. You shouldn't be building jungle items if you're not a jungler. If the optimal item is a jungle item and you're not playing jungle, then there's a fault somewhere. They're trying to obviously rectify that now. Decrease the maximum HP gain and decrease the armor. So it's not going to make you as tanky as previous. I don't know if that's enough to stop people using it, but we'll see. Spear of Longinus. Increased price, so it's 20 gold. You'll have to wait an extra 2 seconds. Changed crafting equipment from something to something. Changed attributes from 150 to 400 at max HP. I think I read this previously, that there's going to be a couple of items that actually you now gain HP instead of armor. That's actually a nerf to items, generally, because a lot of items you take for the armor or for the magic reduction, because there's a lot of heroes that use percentage health damage in the game. So you need to bear that in mind, that sometimes having a ton of health just means that you're going to be melted quicker. And sometimes armor was your preferred choice, so that might mix up the itemization for a few heroes potentially. Frostcape, price reduced, yay! Decreased armor gain, boo, but it makes sense. It was pretty much a go-to item for all supports, warriors, and even anyone really, tanky junglers. Frosty's Revenge. Now this one I saw coming completely. You guys can see that, all right? Yeah. So I think it's the last thing. Frosty's Revenge. Increased price because everyone bought it. Changed its recipe. Attributes. Magic defense plus 220 to max HP. Again, they're taking out the magic defense and making it a HP based item. Movement speed is reduced slightly as well, and the chill effect also reduced from 25 to 20%. So the existing Alice build, for example, utilised Frosty's Revenge. So now both the chill factor of Frosty's Revenge and her fit have had a movement speed reduction. However, it's still substantial movement speed AoE reduction to an entire team. So I don't know if that'll really affect it, but we'll see. Cool, so that's the patch notes, guys. Thank you to everyone that's watching the stream right now that has literally endured me ignoring them for however long it's been, like fucking hour, 45 minutes, nearly. I don't know. But thank you very much to everyone watching right now. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, and find me on Twitch. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you all soon. To those in stream right now, hi guys, how are you all doing? Thank you for enduring listening to me for absolutely ages.